He got the promotion, called his parents, called his wife, got the congratulations he'd been waiting for, went home, sat in the kitchen, and thought, I really thought this would feel different. Not out of ingratitude, not because something went wrong, just because the feeling he expected to arrive didn't. I kept coming back to this when I was looking into this topic, because the men who described this moment weren't struggling. They weren't failing. These were men who had jobs, families, mortgages paid, goals met. Everything looked exactly like it was supposed to look. And they still felt not happy, not unhappy, just empty. Like something was supposed to click that never clicked. And the feeling itself wasn't even the hardest part. The hardest part was the shame around it. Because how do you explain to anyone that you worked for years towards something, got it, and then felt nothing? Who are you supposed to say that to? And once you see why this happens, it makes a strange kind of sense. I came across something once that I kept thinking about for a long time after. A guy wrote about the week after he closed his first big deal at work. The kind of deal he'd been working toward for 2 years. And he described going through that week feeling like he was waiting for something to kick in. Like there was a second part to the experience that hadn't arrived yet. He went to dinner with his wife to celebrate. She was happy. He smiled, ordered wine, said the right things. And inside, he just kept thinking, why don't I feel this? Maybe you know that version of it. Not the big moment, but the morning after. The week after, the point where everyone around you has moved on from your achievement faster than you expected, and you're left sitting with something you can't quite name. Not disappointment exactly, more like a quiet question that you can't ask out loud. Is this what I was working toward? Most men don't sit with that question for very long. They find the next goal. New target, new timeline. And for a while, the sense of moving towards something comes back, until they get there again, and the cycle starts over. I remember reading about a man who hit his income target. The number he'd told himself would mean he'd made it. He hit it. And within about 2 weeks, he'd already decided the real number was higher. He said he didn't even notice himself do it. It just happened. The finish line moved. It always moves. So why does this actually happen? I don't think it's about not appreciating what you have, and it's not about wanting too much. I think it's simpler than that. Think about how the goals got there in the first place. Nobody sat you down and said, "Here, want these things." But somewhere along the way, you absorbed what success was supposed to look like. From watching who got respect and who didn't. From what your parents celebrated, from the version of a good life that was just always in the air around you. And so you worked toward it, hard, for years, without ever really stopping to ask whether you'd chosen it, or whether it had just chosen you. I came across something from Viktor Frankl that helped explain this. He found that a lot of people don't suffer from too little success. They suffer from spending years chasing something that was never connected to anything that actually mattered to them. And you don't notice any of this while you're moving. You're too busy moving. Did I want this? Or did I just want to want it? So what actually happens when a man lands in that space? Because it's not usually a breakdown. There's no moment where everything stops and he has to confront it directly. It's much quieter than that. Most men I kept reading about did the same thing. They got busy again. Not because they'd figured something out. Not because the next goal was more meaningful than the last one. Just because staying busy meant not having to sit with the question. And busy is easy to justify. There's always more to do. Always something that needs attention. Always a reason why this isn't the right time to stop and think. I came across a guy who described it like running on a treadmill. Not going anywhere, but if you stop, you fall off, so you keep running. And you tell yourself the speed is the point. And it costs something, not dramatically, not all at once, but slowly. A man starts living almost entirely in the future. The present is just the thing he has to get through to reach the next version of his life. He's at dinner, but thinking about the deal. He's with his kids, but running through the conversation he needs to have tomorrow. He's on holiday, but checking his phone because switching off feels dangerous. And the life that's actually happening, the Tuesday evenings, the ordinary Saturdays, the moments that don't mean anything on their own, passes. While he's somewhere else in his head, waiting for his life to start. Here's what I kept coming back to after spending time looking into this. The problem isn't that these men chose the wrong goals. It's that most of them never really chose at all. They inherited a version of success, worked hard toward it, and assumed that the feeling would follow. It didn't. Not because they failed, because the goals were never connected to anything they'd actually decided they wanted. Nobody teaches you what to do when the plan worked and it still wasn't enough. One thing that surprised me since starting this channel is how many men wrote in saying they'd never heard anyone put this into words before. They thought it was just them. It wasn't. If any of this sounds familiar, the videos we're building here are all conversations like this one. What does this look like in your life? And if the goals that got you here weren't really yours, that question doesn't go away just because you keep moving. It just waits. Stop running for a second. That's where the answer is. But stopping is only the beginning, because the harder question is, who are you without the race? That's the next conversation.